Hello and welcome our beloved viewers to RTD's News English Edition. As usual, we begin tonight's news with the major and the top highlights of tonight. Let's follow. African Climate Summit began in Kenya. And in our international scene, in Spain, torrential rain causes major and heavy flooding. Those were the major and top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. The preparatory meeting of the African Climate Summit was held this morning at the Kenyatta International Conference Center in Nairobi, Kenya. The meeting preludes the first African Climate Summit, which will be held tomorrow in Nairobi, Kenya, and will bring together several heads of state and governments from several African countries, in particular, the President of the Republic and acting President of IGAD, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, who will be at the head of a strong delegation. The President of Kenya, Mr. William Ruto, opened the ministerial meeting. He highlighted in a speech the importance of the African Summit, which will bring together African leaders, experts, organizations, and stakeholders from across Africa to discuss challenges linked to climate change and explore solutions to mitigate its effects and promote climate resilience on the African continent. The ministers were able to exchange best practices and experiences in the fight against climate change with a view to including initiatives such as the promotion of renewable energies, sustainable management of natural resources, and projects to adapt to the effect of climate change. One of the main missions of this meeting is to harmonize the positions of African countries in view of the African climate change, ask major questions such as climate financing, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and adapting to climate change. During this meeting, several panelists took turns to discuss the subjects and projects which will be on the agenda of the Summit of Heads of State and Government, which will open tomorrow to discuss the specific challenges linked to climate change facing their respective countries and share information on actions taken to mitigate the consequences of climate change here in the African continent. This African Climate Summit, which was held for the first time ever, demonstrates Africa's commitment to the fight against climate change and recognition of the importance of regional coordination to address climate challenges that transcend national, regional, and international borders. This meeting contributed not only to the preparing the ground for the African Climate Summit tomorrow, but also settling objects and priorities that they wish to address during the summit, with a view to developing concrete actions to be undertaken to face the challenge. African decision makers have launched a historic climate summit aimed at making the continent an emerging power in renewable energies and calling for international financial support to unlock its potential. This first African Climate Summit launches the busiest 4 months of the year for international climate negotiations, culminating in a battle over the end of fossil fuels at COP28 in Dubai from late November to early December. For 3 days, leaders and officials from Africa and elsewhere, including UN Chief Antonio Guterres, will be welcomed to the Kenyan capital by the President of Kenya himself, Mr. William Ruto. He hopes that the summit will enable the continent to find a common language on development and climate in order to propose African solutions at COP28. Home to 1.2 billion people in 54 countries, Africa is politically and economically diverse and is home to some of the most vulnerable populations to climate change. Success in Nairobi around the shared vision of Africa's green development would give impetus to several key international meetings ahead of COP28. Starting in September with the G20 summit in India and the UN General Assembly, followed in October by the annual meeting of the World Bank and International Monetary Fund in Marrakesh. Today, Monday, September 4, 2023, a large-scale meeting was held at the Premature Meeting Room, chaired by His Excellency the Prime Minister of Djibouti. The meeting was attended by the Minister of the Interior, the Minister of Agriculture, the Minister Delegate for Decentralization, the prefects of the various regions, and the City of Djibouti, as well as staff from government institutions. The agenda of this historic meeting focused on the project to beautify the city of Djibouti and the inland regions, with particular emphasis on the planting of trees in the main thoroughfares. The Prime Minister recalled with conviction that all the regions and the city of Djibouti have the necessary and available means to carry out this ambitious mission. A timetable and an awareness-raising strategy have been drawn up For the implementation of this beautification project, it has been drawn up in close collaboration with local and regional authorities, ensuring effective coordination between all the players involved. The Prime Minister stressed that environmental protection remains one of the fundamental priorities of the Djibouti government. He asserted with determination that our country will not remain on the sidelines of global efforts to preserve nature and promote environmental sustainability. The start of the 2023-2024 primary school year went smoothly in the Arta region. A base of 4,270 average 1,500 returned to school in a friendly atmosphere. All teachers are present at their respective posts. A delegation comprising the prefect, Mr. Hassan Dabali Ahmad, the president of the Arta Regional Council, Mr. Ilmi Bouh, and MENFOP officials, headed by Mr. Hassan Ali, regional inspector, toured the region's schools and observed that the new school year was proceeding smoothly. It should be noted that two new grassroots schools opened their doors this year in the region. As in the rest of the country, the start of the 2023-2024 school year took place on Sunday, September 3rd in the basic and intermediate schools in the Obokh region. Some 2,000 primary school children and 700 middle school students returned to classrooms across the region. In keeping with tradition, the local authorities, including the Deputy Prefect Mr. Muhammad Awad and the President of the Regional Council Mr. Muhammad Humad Ismail, accompanied by the Education Inspector Mr. Hamadu Ali Muhammad, toured the basic and intermediate schools in the capital. The aim of the visit was to ensure that the new school year was running smoothly. The delegation first visited the Obokh 1 school, the largest in the region with a total of 560 children. There it was warmly welcomed by the school principal, Mr. Abdul Ghadir Qasim. The delegation then moved to the other schools, including the Obokh Middle School, the Obokh 2 School, Obokh the Bilingual and Technological School, Al-Rahma School, and Markazi School in the Yemeni refugee camp. Also, in the same context, the start of the 2023-2024 school year took place on Sunday morning in the basic schools and middle schools of the Ali Sabih region in the southeast of the country. Early in the morning, hundreds of children dressed in new clothes and accompanied by their parents, especially children, wear masks in front of the basic school and middle schools. This festive return to school began with a call for commitment from stakeholders such as teachers, parents, school heads, inspectors, educational advisors, designers, trainers, school life staff, administrative staff, social, technical, and financial partners to meet the major challenges facing our education system. As stipulated in the letter from the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Mustafa Muhammad Mahmoud, for the start of the new school year. Shortly after the children were called up and welcomed in their respective study rooms, a delegation led by the region's prefect, Mr. Abdul Malik Muhammad Bonita, and including the president of the regional council, Mr. Sharmake Hassan Alale, the inspector and the regional head of the department of the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Muhammad Adan Gelle, the heads of the gender marine police detachments in the region, and pedagogical advisors immersed themselves in the Ali Sabih 1 basic school, the bilingual school integrated last year in the middle school to see for themselves how the new school year was progressing. On site, the officials overseeing this major return to school held discussions and questioned school heads and teachers to gather data on enrollments, their comments, and any grievances they might have, with a view to facilitating their work conditions. Like other schools in the country, the White City, the Joras region basic school have opened their doors. Some 7,500 children returned to school in a joyous atmosphere. On this occasion, the prefect of the region, Mr. Muhammad Humad Abbas, and the regional inspector of education in Tajurra, Mr. Ahmed Hamadu Ibrahim, toured the schools. They expressed their appreciation for the smooth start to the new school year and took the opportunity to wish the whole community a happy and healthy start. We still remain in the field of education, and last but not least, where more than 6,327 school children from 28 basic schools and 30,302 middle school students are returning to school after a well-deserved 3-month summer break in the whole continent. It was the return for the school in the city of Unity. The first day of school is always a special moment filled with palpable excitement for the children in Dakhil and anticipation for the teachers as they prepare to guide our young minds through the new school year. This morning, the region's highest authorities, including the prefect of Dakhil, Mr. Hassan Abdi Roble, toured the basic schools in the town of Dakhil and even went to the large village of Mulud to mark this special day. They expressed their support and best wishes to our school children, teachers, and officials. Today, Monday, September 4th, the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, Lieutenant General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, accompanied by a large delegation of officers from the Djibourian Army, paid an inspection visit to the town of Holhol. On arrival, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim was welcomed by the town sub-prefect Mr. Hassan Wabari and the second-in-command of the military school, Captain Sharmanki Muhammad Jama. This visit was part of a project to rehabilitate the drinking water borehole in the town of Holhol, which had been out of service for a month. With this in mind, the Chief of the Armed Forces General Staff took a particular interest in the living conditions of the population of the town of Holhol and reiterated the Djibouti Army's ongoing support for the local population.
Abur iyo maspano dadku ima karo Abur iyo maspano dadku ima karo Abbaha dalkeniyo wa aniga italin arrimaha kasobaha ka adkaynaya.
The Naval Instruction Center of the Djibourian Coast Guard, located at Dorali Camp, was the venue for the closing ceremony held on Thursday, August 31, of a training course entitled Rule of Maritime Law. The training lasted 2 weeks, during which Djibourian Coast Guard personnel were able to benefit from it. In addition to Colonel Wa'ez Omar Bogorre, commander of the Djibouti Coast Guard, and numerous officers from the institution, the ceremony was attended by Mrs. Hodan Suleiman Hussein, the UNDC liaison officer to Djibouti. The training was attended by Djibouti Coast Guard personnel from various units, including the Digital Brigade, the Transmission Service, and the Naval Technical Service, and the Commando Unit, which is also known in short as GIRGC. The training was provided by experts and trainers from the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, The main objective of the training was to study and put into practice ways of training coordination to effectively combat all forms of illicit trafficking at sea. German Allender, representing the training instructor, underlined in his speech at the ceremony the professionalism of the participants from the Djiboutian Coast Guard as well as the richness of exchange during the training period.
It was on behalf of United Nations Office on Drug and Crime. It was an honor for us to be here, not only teaching, but also learning from you. Like I told you the first time, the experts in Djibouti are you. We are here to recommend you how to do certain things, combating the crime at sea, but at the end, you are the ones who decide. I have seen a very professional group of personnel. I have seen a lot of training, and I think you have a wonderful Coast Guard team here. Okay. For us, once again, it was an honor. And the whole purpose of this training is to teach you how to work not only together, but how to work in a joint way, the maintenance side and with the information side, in order to have more successful operations, combining the crime at sea. Because the main goal of this course is to finally send criminals to jail.
Shifting gears to our international scene, and as I mentioned in the highlights, the Spanish, I think we have a speech made by the Coast Guard. Let's listen to him.
The fundamental objective of this training was to enhance our capabilities and how different services for the Coast Guard work internally under services to achieve the goal to secure the maritime safety and security and to face the maritime crimes more effectively and to protect our maritime domain as well as which is in the region. Over the past 2 weeks, we have had opportunity to gain a deep understanding of maritime rule of law, a crucial field for our nations for economic reason, for strategic position which located our countries. The training would not have been possible without support and the collaboration, coordination, and transferring their knowledge from the members of UNODC, which guided us through arranging and enforcing an affirmative sessions. Their expertise, their dedication, and their promotion of maritime security are invaluable, and we are grateful to them. Thank you for instructors.
Was the speech of Colonel Wa'is Omar Boghoreh, the commander of the Djiboutian Coast Guard. Shifting towards our international scene now, the special Spanish National Meteorological Agency placed a number of autonomous communities on alert on Sunday, including Toledo and Madrid, which were placed on red alert in the Madrid region. Precipitation and rains that could be on torrential intensity is expected during the day, specifying that more than 120 liters of water per square meter could fall, which is dangerous. Well, by this, our blood viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening. Take care. Thank you.